Namaste everyone. Hope you had a wonderful week and yes, last week I left you with Arjuna, a depressed Arjuna. And we all had great sympathies for Arjuna. You could see an Arjuna in yourself. Unless you see an Arjuna in yourself, you will not be able to experientially understand the Bhagavad Gita. You may cognitively understand, know the word meaning, sentence meanings, but an experiential understanding of Bhagavad Gita, a transformative understanding of Bhagavad Gita is possible only if you empathize with Arjuna. Only you feel the heartbeat of Arjuna in your heart. Because Arjuna's problem is a universal problem. It's my problem, your problem, everybody's problem. The inevitable contradictions in life which we are not able to reconcile. And when we face a problem, our first instinct is to react, as they call the flight and the fight response. Either I fight or I run away, which in the Indian tradition is a pravritti nivritti response. Pravritti means you are fighting, reacting aggressively. Nivritti means you are running away, reacting passively. What are reactions? You can react passively, you can react aggressively, you can say I am done, I am finished. So this was Arjuna's condition. Because the options that was available to him were only two. Either to fight or to run away. Either to become a martyr or to become a murderer. When I say martyr, what I mean is you run away in the name of peace. When I say murderer, you fight and kill people. So Arjuna, when he contemplated upon the tragic denouement, consequences of the war, his heart was not in the war. He said, I am not for this. At the same time, war is inevitable in life. You have to fight for your rights. Unless you cry, you don't get the milk, as they say. But war is not a solution also. So what will I do? This was the question which was posed by Arjuna. Arjuna said, I don't want to fight with these people, they are my own people. I don't want to run away because there are very bad elements in that party. So you cannot just run away. So what will I do? This was Arjuna's question. So Arjuna used certain very interesting words, as well as Sanjaya, the narrator of the story. Sanjaya uses 2-3 words to depict the condition of Arjuna. One word was kripa, pity. Sometimes we feel pity for ourselves and our leaders, our people. Pity means a helpless condition. Another word used by Sanjaya, the narrator, was vishada. Vishada means grief. Grief is when you lose something which you love. That is when you experience the emotional grief. And the third word used by the narrator Sanjaya was shoga samvikna manasaha. Arjuna was drowned in sorrow, sadness. You are sad, you have no solution. So these are the three words used by the narrator Sanjay. Pity, sadness and grief. Kripa, I use a Sanskrit word, Kripa, Vishada and Shoga. Arjuna himself uses some words to describe his mental condition, mental confusion, his experience of being on the horns of a dilemma. He experiences two words, dharma sammudha cheta. I am not able to see what is right and wrong here. That is dharma sammudha. It is a grey area. I am not able to clearly distinguish who is wrong and who is right, what is wrong and what is right. Another word he used was kripana. I feel wretched. I feel a collapse inside. I feel very bad about myself. These are the two words used by Arjuna to describe his mental state. And then shoga sambhigna manasaha. Tam tadha kripaya vishtam ashrupurnakulekshanam. Tears was rolling down from his eyes. For the first time in his life, Arjuna cried. When you cry, then you become vulnerable, as I told you last time. When you feel helpless, that is the time you ask fundamental questions in life. So this was a cathartic experience for Arjuna, a catharsis of his feelings, which he was holding up within himself without telling anybody. So Arjuna goes through a cathartic experience, and that purifies his mind and clarifies his thinking. He gains a rare clarity about life. And he asks, now I am ready to learn. Now I have an open mind. And he used a very significant word. He said, yes, shreyas syat tat nishedam bruvime. What is good for me? You please tell me that. I don't know. By my own thinking, it doesn't help me. So Arjuna plugged himself to a higher intelligence. That's what he did. Instead of plugging into his own intelligence, limited experience, he plugged himself into higher intelligence and he asked the Lord, please teach me what is right. What is real well-being? Not just the prosperity. Prosperity I know. Wealth, the meaning of wealth I know. Power I know. Pleasures I know. But what I don't know is the meaning of well-being. What is that? Yes, shreyas syat tat nishchidam bruvime. This is what I told, the third way. Between flight and fight, between pravarti and nivritti, I need a third way. That's what Arjuna asked. And the third way is what we are going to discuss today. And Arjuna did not want a theoretical explanation. He wants a practical explanation, practical solution. A solution which is workable. That is what Arjuna wants. I can give you a very theoretical framework, but if it is not practical, of what use? So Arjuna wanted to know a person who lives the ideal, an ideal person, not an idea. He wanted an ideal person in flesh and blood, who is in the thick of the world. How do you live those values? I can give you a big lecture on values, a big lecture on ideas, but do I practice it myself? Is it practicable? Otherwise, don't tell me that. So instead of asking a theoretical question, Arjuna asking a practical question. How does such a person live in this world? Sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, siddhadi kim prabhasheda, kim asida brajeda kim. Can you describe an ideal person? And we all need an ideal in life. A mentor, an ideal, a role model. Especially our children need a role model. We ourselves need a role model. This is possible. It is not just a theory. It is something workable and practical. So this is what Arjuna asks, a person in flesh and blood who walks his talk, as they say. An exemplary person. So he asked this question, can you describe such a person who lives in this world, who is facing the challenges, and still he is steady? So the word used by Arjuna was Sthitaprajna, a person of steady wisdom, what I call a wise man. Sorry for using the word man, a wise person, let us say. Whether it is a man or woman doesn't matter. A wise person, not V-I-C-E, but W-I-S-E. A wise person. How does he live in this world? That is the third way I am talking. The third way is, as I said in the last lecture, the way of contemplative action or reflective action, not just reaction. So what is this contemplative action? How do I practice in daily life? If I am a family person, a business person, a politician, or a social worker, or a scientist, I am very active. And mind you, Bhagavad Gita wants you to be a very active person. Bhagavad Gita doesn't want you to go to the Himalayas and meditate there. He wants to be a very active person. That is why Bhagavad Gita was preached in the battlefield. So expect you to be active. So how does such a person live in this world with these ideas? What is the idea? Contemplative action. Who is very active but very contemplative. How is that possible? Because for us, contemplation and activity are two different pursuits. Here Bhagavan is trying to reconcile, bring them together into one person who lives in this world, but at the same time contemplative, for whom action itself is contemplation. Activity itself is contemplation. So, can you describe such a person? This is the third way I am talking about. Not the way of fight or flight, pravritti or nivritti, but every activity itself becomes a contemplative experience for me. Is that possible? So this third way has two pillars. One pillar is self-knowledge. The other pillar is detached engagement, karma yoga or Buddhi Yoga. These are the two words used in the Bhagavad Gita. One is Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means self-knowledge. The other is Karma Yoga, means detached engagement. These are the two pillars of this new person or new idea which Bhagavad Gita is presenting to us. Self-knowledge. We all know ourselves. We all know ourselves. I don't need your help to understand who I am. I know I am the son of my father. I am the husband of my wife, or I am the wife of my husband. Everybody knows who they are. So who are you to tell me, to give me this new knowledge, self-knowledge? And we all use the word self. Myself, yourself, himself, herself, themselves. But what is that self which we all experience? And the self is indicated by the word I. So here Krishna says, Bhagavan says, Arjuna, your problem is you are not able to process the information properly. Because you don't have self-knowledge. You are operating from a very limited space, which is called dukkha. You must have heard the word dukkha. Everybody, Buddha uses the word. In Hinduism we use the word. And you say, I am dukkhi. I am a miserable wretch. Isn't it? So we all are operating from the limited sphere of dukkha. Dukkham. Du means limited, kha means space. Because we are operating from the limited sphere of dukkha, all our activities are only adding more and more dukkha on us. So you need a self-understanding, self-knowledge. And we have never reflected upon this fundamental question, who are we? What is our real, basic, real nature? Other than this embodiment. At this point, our identity is limited by our embodiment, our body. Is there any identity beyond my embodiment? Embodiment I understand. I have a body. I am a 6-footer. I weigh 300 pounds. And I am a muscular person. All this I understand. Physically, I know myself. I weigh myself every day. Every day I am increasing my weight also, or decreasing my weight. So is there any identity other than the embodiment which I am experiencing today? This question is very, very important. So Bhagavan says, Arjuna, you need Buddhi Yoga, a new understanding about yourself, a new understanding about the world. A cognitive shift has to happen from the body I am attitude to something much more enlarging, something much more bigger, something much more inclusive and encompassing. At this point I have reduced myself, you have reduced yourself, that body I am attitude. Of course you have a body, no doubt, but you are not the body. Which is a fundamental shift which has to happen in our life and which requires great contemplation, reflection, a fundamental shift in your attitude. So Bhagavan says we have to move from I am the body attitude, that's your identity now. I have a body attitude. I have a body attitude. This is called Buddhi Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. I repeat that statement. You have to shift from I am the body attitude to I have a body attitude. Something like saying, I have a car, I have a computer, I have a house. You never say I am the house, I am the computer, I am the car. Or I have a buffalo. You never say I am the buffalo, fortunately. Isn't it? Therefore, we have to experience this shift. And that shift can happen only by getting these knocks in life. Life is continuously pounding on you. You are getting several knocks. You are sick, you are unhealthy, you are weak physically, and still you hold on to the idea I am the body, I am the body, I am the body all the time. Something like, when you buy a new car, you are so much identified with the car. And your attitude is, I am the car. If somebody scratches on the car, you say, no, don't scratch on the car, scratch on me. You rather scratch me, not on the car. But over a period of time, when you become wiser, you say, okay, scratch on the car, doesn't matter. It's an old car anyway. So you have to become wise to understand your real nature. So Bhagavan says, Krishna says to Arjuna, you have to undergo this fundamental shift. Without undergoing that fundamental shift, you will be remaining in that limited circle. I am the body attitude. Anything happening to the body, you feel I am very bad. I am finished. I am done. That attitude has to change. Maybe that is why Jesus Christ on the cross nails driven to his body, and blood is dripping. And his words were, "Oh God, they don't know what they are doing. They don't know what they are doing. They think they are torturing me, but I am in a state of ecstasy now. Because this is the opportunity for me to shift my attention from the body to my spiritual nature." So Krishna says, you are not the body, you are the spirit. This most of us understand. Yes, I hit the spirit every day in the evening. Isn't it? Every day in the evening, I hit the bottle. I understood Bhagavad, I understood Krishna, I am the spirit. We are not talking about the bottle, the spirit. We are speaking the embodied spirit. Spirit means which is very subtle, which cannot be objectified, which cannot be taken in a bottle, which cannot be cut and pasted, which cannot be seen, which cannot be touched. But you cannot touch without that spirit. You cannot see without that spirit. But the spirit itself cannot be seen, itself cannot be touched. So please, this is a very deep subject. Unless you are contemplative, you don't understand this. So Krishna says, you are not just the body. This is called Buddhi Yoga, which is one of the pillars of self-transformation. You are not just the body, you are the spirit. As somebody said, you are the spirit with a body, not a body with a spirit. And spirit means what? Spirit means which you cannot objectify. And in the modern language or even the ancient language, the spirit means consciousness. You are pure consciousness with a body. You are conscious of the body, please. You have to understand that. To understand this shift, this cognitive shift, you are a consciousness with a body, you are conscious of the body. I hope you all know that you are conscious people. Anybody unconscious in this? Not possible. We all are conscious individuals. What are you conscious of, my dear sir? What are you conscious of? I am conscious of my body, I am conscious of the world, I am conscious of my thoughts, I am conscious of my miseries, I am conscious of my knowledge, I am conscious of my ignorance. So all these, I am conscious of my ignorance, all these are object of your consciousness. And you are pure consciousness or the spirit. I call it a spirit because it is very, very subtle. I call it consciousness because of that you are conscious of everything. So please look into that. This is your homework. You have to spend time every day when you wake up and when you go to sleep. Every day you must remember this. You are pure consciousness. And the rest are all floating in that space of consciousness, including time-space. Because you are conscious of time, you are conscious of space. So this shift, radical shift from the body I am to I am pure consciousness. In the Vedanta literature, in the spiritual literature, we call it Satchidanandoham. I am pure consciousness. I am pure bliss. Because once you understand you are beyond time-space. Time-space is something which is fluttering in you, which is available in your consciousness. Once you understand you are beyond time-space, that state is called bliss, anandam, joy. So when you say I am consciousness, you also are saying I am happiness, I am pure joy. At this point, what is our understanding? I am pure concentrated misery, isn't it? And I am wondering who makes me unhappy, who makes me miserable. And you are running all over the world accusing others, finding fault with others. My husband is making me unhappy, my wife is making me unhappy, my children are making me unhappy, my stars are making me unhappy. My God, stars have better things to do. So you all the time accusing others for this fundamental self-created problem. So once you shift your attention from the body to the spirit, to the Atman, suddenly you realize, my God, my nature is happiness. I am pure consciousness. And this shift is called the cognitive shift, an experiential shift, a transformative understanding of oneself. This is called the Buddhi Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita. So please reflect on this. So today onwards, you should never utter, I am miserable, I am the body, I am limited by the body. You have to repeat every day in the morning or every three hours. But you repeat, Shivoham, I am Shiva, Chaitanyoham, I am pure consciousness, Anandoham, I am pure happiness. Repeat it. Because what you say, that you become. What you think, that you become. What you feel, that you are. So we have to understand our nature is Satchidananda, pure happiness. This is the first shift that Arjuna experienced. This is the shift Arjuna experienced. The second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna heard Arjuna's story, Arjuna's condition, Krishna only laughed. Prahasanneva Bharata. Arjuna is crying, Krishna smiled. Because Arjuna is suffering self-created problem. The problem is not out there. The problem is in here. In our own faulty understanding of the world. So when the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan discusses these issues with Arjuna. Arjuna, you have to undergo a change in your attitude to life. Unless you undergo this change in attitude to life, nothing is going to happen. So one is the Buddhi Yoga. And other pillar of this transformation is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga means detached engagement in the world. Because with this attitude that I am the source of happiness, I am pure consciousness, I am that infinite energy, you have to be active in the world. And the more you are active, the more your happiness will manifest. Think of that. To experience this happiness which you are, you have to be engaging in the world. That's why Bhagavan insists, Tasmad uttishta kaunteya yudhaya krita nishchaya. To experience this happiness continuously, one has to be active in the world. As I told you, it's something like a piece of sandal. The more you crush it, the more its fragrance manifests. Similarly, as you interact with the world, receiving stimulation and responding to that, which is called living, the more and more your joy will manifest. So this experiencing your inner happiness as you face the problems of life, as you interact with the world, is called Samadhi. Samadhi. So Samadhi is not that you sit down somewhere, cross legged and close your eyes and then shake your nose. That's not Samadhi. Samadhi is experiencing your inner joy as you interact with the world. Something like an old musical record. You know the record, put on the record player and you turn it and you put the needle on that and as the needle pricks the record, then music comes out of that, isn't it? Because music is embedded or impregnated. The record is impregnated with the music. It's rich with the music. So if you prick it, the music comes out. If you don't prick it, there is no music. Music is there, but it's not experienced. Similarly, when the world pricks you through these five sense organs, your innate music will manifest. So Bhagavan Krishna says two things. First is, have the real self-knowledge. Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya, self-knowledge. What is the self-knowledge? I am the source of happiness. I am a happy person. I am happiness itself. Is that difficult? Oh, this is very difficult, Swamiji, to know that I am happiness. I am very difficult. I tried left and right so many times. I tried, but I continue to be unhappy. Because you are so much steeped in your unhappiness. It has become a habit. You don't want to give up this habit. It's a wrong habit which you have picked up. Change that habit. Change that habit. Give it up. Throw it away. But how do I do that is another question. How do I change my habit? It's a big question. How do I change my habit? Every day you repeat, I am happiness, I am happiness, Shivoham. You keep repeating. But if I repeat, will it happen to me? Yes, because you are that. It is only a word is necessary. It has to. Otherwise, the more you analyze, the more you become paralyzed, I tell you. Analysis is paralysis. You have to lift yourself by your own bootstraps. Otherwise, you keep on analyzing and finally you remain in the same place. So two things. You have to realize who you are, what is your nature, and then interact with the world. As you interact with the world, your happiness manifests. This is the program of self-realization which Bhagavan discusses, Krishna discusses in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. When this was said to Arjuna, so Krishna was not talking about the war strategies or what should you do, the technical things he is not talking. He is giving a new identity to Arjuna. When you get a new identity, new realization, then you can decide what you want to do in this world. It's something like I give you a lamp, a light, a flashlight. Then I don't have to say, okay, go through the door. I'm sure if you have a light, then you don't walk on the wall. I know it. So Krishna is not telling Arjuna what to do, what not to do, though he is saying that, therefore, tasmad uttishta gaunde yuddhaya kritha, but that's not his main purpose. He gives you that self-confidence. He gives you that resource, new resource, from which you can draw infinitely. So when this was said, Arjuna wanted to know, is this possible? Is this possible for him? Can you explain it a little further? And hence the question, the third way. And Arjuna asks, I need a person in flesh and blood. How do you live this knowledge in the world outside? And hence the question, Sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya keshava, siddhadi kim prabhasheda, kim asida vrajeda kim. So you are talking about an enlightened ideal person. Can you give me a description of that ideal person? Sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha, samadhistasya, one who is wise, one who is deep, one who is composed. That's the bhasha kim. What is his description? Will he speak? Will he speak? Will such a person speak? If at all he speaks, what will he speak? Will he sit? Will he walk? Can he be active in this world? Because we all have a wrong notion. A spiritual person is an inactive person. He will not be active in this world. He will be sitting in some cave. That's our wrong notion. Because we think spirituality and material life won't go together. Spirituality is a different cup of tea. And we all are material, living in this material world. So spirituality we will wait till I become 70, 75, then I'll come to spirituality. That's our idea. So here spirituality is being spoken in the battlefield. So Arjuna wanted description of such a person. Will he be able to talk, be active, do the manage ordinary problems of life? He wanted to know. So Krishna's answer was very simple. Very simple. What was his answer? Who is a spiritual person? Who is an awakened person? Who is an enlightened person? Who is an ideal person? To that, Krishna's answer is, you have to listen it very carefully. Prajahadi yata kaman sarvan partha manogadan atmanye vatmana tushtaha sthitaprajna stadochadesa. A spiritually enlightened person is one who is happy in herself by herself. Please listen to that. A spiritually awakened person is one who is happy in herself by herself, or in himself by himself, meaning whose happiness is independent of the environment. The environment does not determine his identity. So one whose happiness is or identity is independent of the environment, he is a really free person, or she is a free person, or enlightened. At this point, our happiness depends upon our environment, isn't it? Oh, it's too hot, too cold, nobody appreciates me, nobody smiles to me, or the government is bad, or Trump is sitting in the White House, because of which I am unhappy. Isn't it? You always find the fault with the environment. Or I am physically sick, therefore I am unhappy. So you always attach your happiness, your identity, your self-dignity, yourself to the outside world, or what you have. You think you are a sum total of what you have or what you don't have. Some people define themselves by what they don't have. I don't have money, therefore I am poor. My God, you are so rich. Money is only a convention. Money is only nothing. You are so rich. But that we don't understand. So your identity, your dignity, yourself should not depend upon what you have or what you don't have. Or even your history. Your history must have been very miserable. But that should not soil your soul. Your soul is pure. Your soul is powerful. That should be our understanding. So Krishna says, Atmani evatmana tushtaha. One who is happy, one who is empowered by his own inner self. He is an enlightened person. So it doesn't matter what happens outside. Even if you try to change what is outside, if you bring your unhappy self, you will only create more problems. We don't have the inner strength, inner clarity to even work for social change. An unhappy person creates only more unhappiness. Therefore, as they say, before you remove the speck from your neighbor's eye, remove the plank from your own eyes. Be the change that you want to see in the world outside. Therefore, Krishna says, an enlightened person, a true person, an authentic person, is one who is happy by herself, in herself. Then you can say you are an enlightened person. You are a true, authentic person. Otherwise, you are a construct, a social construct. A social construct, society decides who you are, not you. So you have to go beyond that and discover your individuality, your essential self, which is nothing but happiness, which is nothing but pure intelligence, pure health, even health. According to Krishna, health does not depend upon medication. Health depends upon meditation. Medicine cannot make you healthy. It will only confirm your unhealthiness. So that's why the word used for health in Sanskrit, swasthyam. Swasthya means one who abides in herself or himself. He alone can be healthy. Health has to be invoked from within yourself. So such a person is called Sthitaprajna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sthitaprajna. One is prajna, self-knowledge is steady. It does not wobble according to the change in the environment. Whose self-knowledge is steady. Who goes beyond the physicality, the material environment. And they have an identity beyond all this, which you can capture through meditation. So, prajahadi yata kaman sarvan parthamanogadan atmane vatmana tushtaha sthitaprajnastaduchyate. One who is happy in herself, in himself, by herself, by himself. And then he says, then there will be no desire in your mind, which is very difficult. This is Krishna's next purpose. When you are happy in yourself, there will be no desire in your mind. Sarvan kaman prajahadi. This is too much for me. If you say there is no desire in my mind, then how will I live? Desire is the energy, isn't it? Desire propels you, desire makes you work, act in the world. The whole life is a desire fulfilling project. So Krishna says, such a person will have no desire. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? There will be no desire. All religions talk about that. No desire. Desire is the problem. So Krishna is very subtle in that. Krishna says, we all have many desires. I want a house, I want a job, I want to travel, I want respect, I want love, I want justice. We all have many kind of desires. But behind all these desires, there is a master desire, a mother desire, a metta desire. All the desires are subsumed in that metta desire. What is that metta desire? Is it power? No. Because I have seen powerful people also miserable. Is it money? No. Because I have seen very rich people miserable. Is it pleasures? No. Because I have seen people rolling in pleasure miserable. Isn't it? You go to Las Vegas, spend 2 weeks there and come back miserably. Because when you come back, the bill also comes. So therefore, what is the metta desire we are talking about? Krishna identifies the metta desire, the desire for happiness and health. A health and happiness go together. Healthy person is happy person is healthy person. So all our desires are a desire, can be put together as a desire for happiness. Can you contest that idea? I meditate to be happy. You travel to be happy. Anybody traveling to be unhappy? So your desire, all the desires, finally end in the desire for happiness. And once you discover happiness is your nature, there is no more desire for happiness. Please think of that. Once you discover your nature is happiness, that you cannot harvest happiness from outside, that is very clear to us. I cannot harvest happiness from outside. I have to invoke it from within myself. Therefore, Krishna says, an enlightened person will have no desire for happiness. When you have no desire for happiness, you are a happy person, period. When you have a desire for happiness, then you become an unhappy person, obviously. So when Krishna says an enlightened person will have no desire, it only means an enlightened person is a naturally happy person. And therefore, he or she does not entertain a desire for happiness. Happily you can have any number of desires, I tell you. Happily you can desire a car or a house or whatever. No problem. But not for happiness. This is my another mantra. Don't desire for happiness, but happily desire things. This is a mantra. Don't desire for happiness, but happily desire. Then when you happily desire become an opportunity, a channel for you to explore and express your infinite happiness. Please understand that. When you happily desire become a tool to explore and express your inner potential. Otherwise, desire will be binding. Happily when you desire will be liberating. It's a liberating experience. Please think of that. It occurs that the same tool, the same desire can be used, misused, abused. A person who is happily desiring, it's a tool for him for self-expression, his inner joy. A person who is unhappy, desire become a tool to aggrandize, to grab, to hoard. So please understand the difference. So prajahadi yada kaman sarvan parthamanogada atmanye vatmana tushtaha Sthitaprajna stadochyade. So Sthitaprajna is an ideal. The ideal person is called Sthitaprajna. Many words are used by Krishna for this ideal person. I have 21 words here. 21 words in Bhagavad Gita used to identify this Sthitaprajna, to explain this Sthitaprajna. Just for your fun sake, I will repeat all the words. One word used to Sthitaprajna, is an ideal person. You know, something like we are saying millionaire or a billionaire or celebrity and all that. Krishna uses 21 words to depict the ideal person, to indicate the ideal person. Sthitaprajna, gunadita. One has gone beyond the mind and then managing the mind. Gunadita. One has gone beyond the mind and then managed the mind. Another word used is yogi. Yogi, one who is an integrated person, emotionally, physically, environmentally, intellectually, spiritually, an integrated person. Yogi. Another word used is jnani, a wise person. Jnani. Bhakta. Bhakta also is a word to indicate such an enlightened person. Bhakta. Bhakta means one who is plugged to the cosmic intelligence. Bhakta. One is plugged. So have you heard plug and play? Plug where? Where do you plug? plug into the cosmic intelligence. He is called a bhakta, a devotee. Then sannyasi. Sannyasi means one who has renounced his unhappiness. Sannyasi person, the one who has renounced the habit of being unhappy. He is called a sannyasi. So don't pity a sannyasi. Sannyasi is a person who is always happy. That's the meaning of sannyas. What has he renounced? He has renounced his habit of being unhappy. Pandita, another word used is pandita. Vidya vinaya sampanne, brahmane gevihastini, chunijaiva shubhadecha, pandidaha samadarshinaha. Pandita is the word used. Then samadarshi, one who sees the same everywhere. Though there are differences. Some are intelligent, some are less intelligent, some are rich, some are poor. But you can see the running thread that connects all these differences into a beautiful garment. Therefore it's called a samadarshi. Samabuddhi, another word used. Muni. Muni means mananashilavan. One who is reflective rather than reactive. It takes time. Muni, another word used. Then yadi. Yadi means self-disciplined individual. You don't have to impose discipline on that person. Yadi. Tyagi. Tyagi means, sannyasi means the same thing. Then Mahatma, another word. Mahatma. Mohatma, Mahatma. Mohatma means a deluded person. Mahatma means an inclusive person. Inclusive. Not excluding, inclusive person. Sadhu. Sadhu means a pious individual. Sadhu. Dharmatma. These words are self-explanatory. Dharmatma. Swastha. One who is comfortable with oneself. Swastha. Udasina. Udasina. Udasina means who is relaxed. Dhiraha, Manishi. Many words are, 21 words are used in Bhagavad Gita to indicate such an ideal person. So who is an ideal person? Who does not seek happiness but expresses happiness in all interactions. So Bhagavan uses two metaphors to explain this enlightened person. Two metaphors. One is the metaphor of a turtle, a tortoise. It's very interesting. Bhagavan compares an enlightened person to a turtle of all animals. A turtle. What is the quality of a turtle? The turtle had a very hard surface, hard back, and a soft belly. So wise person also is like that. Very principled, at the same, very compassionate. Principled compassion. Like I taught. Principled compassion. Again, a turtle can withdraw its limbs at will and put out its limbs whenever it's necessary. It can withdraw completely into itself. So wise person has the ability to remain calm and then respond to situations. He is not like a trump, unnecessarily every day tweeting and then giving trouble to everybody. So he is a calm person, doesn't react violently. So just as a turtle has the ability to withdraw its limbs, remain quiet when necessary, and act when necessary, so that great felicity of self-control, like a turtle. Another interesting thing about turtle is it can be active in the terra firma, on the solid ground, and in the water also. It's an amphibian. It can be in water as well as on the ground. Similarly, a wise individual, he is happy by himself or happy in the world outside also. In seclusion, he is complete. in interaction, that person is complete. This is why a wise individual is compared to a turtle. So be like a turtle. Be like a turtle. Another metaphor used in the Bhagavad Gita is that of the ocean. Ocean. Apuryamana machala pradishtam samudramabha pravishanti yatada. Taddut kamayam sarve pravishanti. Sashanti mapnodi nagamukami. Imagine an ocean. In an ocean, all the rivers bring their water. Nile, Yangtze, Huanghe, and Ganga, Jamuna, every river comes to the ocean. But the oceanic water level doesn't go up. Similarly, the sun is continuously evaporating, boiling the ocean water and evaporating it. So ocean loses a lot of water because of sun. But the oceanic water level doesn't go down. It's always the same, always brimful, always steady. Similarly, when you interact with the world, a lot of information comes to you, isn't it? There is an information load now, which is exciting you, agitating you. But the wise individual, whatever information comes to him, whether it is new, old, or recycled, he is always steady. It doesn't affect him. You see something in the newspaper, a new product in the market, immediately you run towards that. Isn't it? Immediately you run. Or something you see on the TV or in the newspaper, you become restless. But a wise person knows, I don't need this. I am happy by myself. So your choices are very, very wise. Your choices are not determined by the marketplace or the advertisement. Your choices are authentic choices. Your choices are not manipulated by propaganda and advertisement. Your choices come from your own inner fullness. Nothing, no information can disturb you. Similarly, things can be taken away from you. Whatever is taken away, it doesn't affect you. Because time is such, things are changing. Change brings changes in you also. You become old, your youthhood is lost. Though we try to be youthful by makeup and all that. So, you may lose certain things as life advances. Doesn't matter. So just like an ocean is not affected by what is coming and what is taken away from them, from the ocean, you are calm and quiet. That is the two metaphors used by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. So be like an ocean, be like the turtle, be calm, be happy. And when you happily do things, that will be the right thing. You don't have to read hundreds of books to understand what is right and wrong. To understand what is right and wrong, you have to be a happy person. An unhappy person invariably do wrong things. A happy person invariably do the right thing. There is no other standard for what is right and wrong. Other than, are you happy? If you are not happy, relax. Don't do anything at that time. It will be wrong. You will be invariably doing wrong things. So you don't have to tons of books. You don't have to read tons of books to know what is right and wrong. What is dharma and adharma. If you are happy, you will be doing the right thing, he says. If you are unhappy, you will be invariably doing the wrong things. So the central message of Krishna is, be happy and then jump into the field of activity. Then you will be doing the right thing. you will be doing the appropriate things. The standard of right and wrong is within you, not in the books. Follow your inner light. Follow your bliss. So Krishna is not advocating impulsive action. Impulsive action is emotion-centered. Your bliss is spirit-centered, spirit-centered. Spirit is the center, not your emotions, not your bodily impulses. So once you are established in the spirit, you will be doing the right thing. Because spirit is all-inclusive. Emotions are divisive. It divides people. So therefore, purify your emotions and then go deep into yourself. And from that platform, act in the world. You will be invariably doing the right things. There is no other standard for you other than your own inner self. So discover yourself and engage in the world. This is the third way we are talking about, which you call reflective action. Third way. This is what Buddha talked about, the middle path. This is what Jesus Christ talks about, the path of love. This is what even Islam talks about, the path of surrender. This is what the Chinese talk about, the path of Tao. It's an inclusive path. It is a win-win situation. It's a positive-sum game where all of us become successful and happy, where your victory leaves no vanquished behind. A victory where there is no vanquished behind, that victory is the real victory. Arjuna heard all this and he was inspired. This seems to be the right path, the path to Shreyas. But still he has got a nagging doubt. If I am a happy person, happiness is within myself. Why should I be active in this world? Your question also, isn't it? Your question also is, a happy person, will he ever be active in this world? Because activity is for happiness. When I have achieved happiness, why should I act in this world? That question I will be discussing next time. And my theme is Jnana Karma. Jnana means wisdom, Karma means activity. Is it Jnana and Karma together or Karma in Jnana? Karma with Jnana or Karma in Jnana? Knowledge. I repeat. Is it activity and knowledge, wisdom, or activity in wisdom? Probably you don't understand the difference, which I will explain next time. Activity in wisdom or activity and wisdom. Are they two separate things or is it one and the same thing? So can I be meditative and be active? This theme I will be discussing next time. Thank you very much. I hope you will reflect on this proposition deeply, and next time we will discuss this idea of activity in meditation, meditative activity. We will be discussing it further. Thank you once again. Hari Om.